Hey folks, welcome back to the Sedgwick Jimmy channel. We're certainly glad to see you, and today we are going to be looking at how the role of sports commissioner came to be. I'll go ahead and give you a hint ahead of time. It had to do with baseball, cheating, and maintaining the integrity of the game. You can't see my air quotes around integrity, but they're there. So let's get into it. If we're going to talk about the origin of the commissioner role, we have to look at the old system first, which was led by a national commission. The national commission was made up of three members: the head of the National League, the head of the American League, and a chairman that was meant to act as a tiebreaker. This system was created in the National Agreement of 1903 and tended to work relatively well. Well, that is until the Black Sox scandal. So for those of you unaware, the 1919 Black Sox scandal involved 8 players from the Chicago White Sox that may or may not have intentionally lost the World Series. You may be asking yourself, why would they possibly have done that? Well, see, here's the thing. This was a different time in sports. There was no player union. You couldn't leave a team without the permission of the team's owner, and whatever contract was offered was the only offer. If you were a top star but your team wanted to pay you peanuts, like the White Sox did, you were screwed. This is pretty much where organized crime comes in. So what we've got is a bunch of cash-strapped players looking to make some extra money, and you had some less than savory characters that handled the local gambling who are also looking to make some money. It's like a match made in heaven, I guess. But it didn't help that the White Sox locker room was pretty much split down the middle between players based on, we'll say, their level of morality. Now, before the series started, word had already leaked that the series might be fixed, and a lot of people high up in baseball watched it pretty closely. This was back when it was a best-of-9 series, and after losing Game 5, the players started to grow tired of the gamblers because they wanted to hold out on the players' payouts until after the series, rather than paying out after each game, which is what was agreed to. So, in pretty much an act of defiance, the White Sox went out and won Games 6 and 7, but then the gamblers started making threats of violence against the players and their families, so they lost the next game in the series and went ahead and just received their payments. The payments, by the way, were typically around $5,000 or roughly $75,000 in today's money. So, not too shabby for the time. Like I said, there had been rumors of the fix going in, and those rumors didn't just go away. In September of 1920, a grand jury began to hear the case, and it became national news. This really didn't sit well with the owners, of course, and they already weren't big fans of the system. So, they turned to this man, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, a former federal judge, a baseball fan, and an all-around no-nonsense kind of guy. Problem was, Landis would only come on board if he was given total control for life, and the teams weren't too keen on that idea, but they were kind of in a pickle, so they pretty much just went with the unlimited powers. Pretty much imagine the genie from Aladdin, but more a pissy old man, and the powers were only over baseball. So it's maybe a bad analogy, but that's what we're going with. So moving on. When he took power in 1921, his first act was to ban all 8 members accused of the scandal, even though a jury trial had actually found all of them not guilty, and that ban actually stands until this day. He stayed commissioner for 25 years, acting as a George Washington of sorts in that way, in that he established the office and its powers. By the way, Landis was not for integrating white and black players. In fact, it wasn't until almost a year after his death that the first black player was signed to a major league team. Other leagues eventually jumped on board the chugga-chugga-choo-choo commissioner train, and the NFL did so in 1941, the NBA in 1967, though the creation of those roles had more to do with wanting power over other rival leagues, and actually helped lead to the eventual merging of the NFL and AFL as well as the NBA and ABA, more than any other scandals. Hell, the NHL, which was created in 1917, didn't establish a commissioner till 1993, the same year as Major League Soccer established their commissioner, and the same year that Major League Soccer was actually founded as a league. And that's the origin for why we have sports league commissioners. We hope you found it informative and or interesting. If you liked what we did here, why don't you give us a like? If you want to see more, why don't you give us a subscribe down below? If the button's red, why don't we just make that little sucker gray, huh? If you have anything to add to the discussion, any ideas or the such, head on down to the comments and let us know. Thanks for coming back here to the Sedgwick Jimmy channel, and keep your eyes open for new stuff coming up. Come check it out.